Hello, my name is Claudia Davidson, and I'm here to show you the Poetry Foundation's Digital Poetry Archive. So before we get into the digital archive specifically, I'll just show you some things about the Poetry Foundation. So if we go to About Us Home, we can see their mission here, which is to recognize the power of words to transform lives. We work to amplify poetry and celebrate poets by fostering spaces for all to create, experience, and share poetry. So the Poetry Foundation has a magazine connected to it, and it's called Poetry Magazine. Some of the poems that have been published in the magazine are in the digital archive, but that's not the only poems that are in the digital archive. So the Poetry Foundation also has a physical library, and on here you can browse their 30,000 volumes. This is not really related to the digital archive, it just shows the physical holdings that are at the physical library associated with the Poetry Foundation. So let's go over to the Poems and Poets tab. And if you go to Poems Home and scroll all the way down, it's a little bit hidden. You can find the Archive FAQ. And this explains a little bit about the archive itself. It says that it has more than 46,000 poems, 6,300 author biographies, the catalog of Poetry Magazine, hundreds of articles and educational resources, audio and video, and more. And it also says that poems are available for free for you to read, discuss, and share with friends. And this here, if you want to watch it, is a video by the digital archive editor. His name is Robert Eric Shoemaker, and in it a quote from him is that his aim is to continue to expand the database to represent more languages, nations, and identities. So first I'll show you this main search option. It's good for if you know a specific poem or poet you're looking for. So we'll search Audre Lorde. And as you can see, it's not really an advanced search. It just searches by keyword, and then you can limit it further. So it searched Audre Lorde by keyword, so it shows her author page, but it also shows news where she's mentioned, and poems about her and by her. So you can further limit it up here. We'll go to poems, and this still shows all of her poems, but also poems that were written with her referenced in. I think a better way to use this website is to just use it as a browsing function for discovering new poetry and finding poems by poets you already like. And so you can do that by going to the Poems and Poets page, and then we'll go back to Poems Home. Here you can see Browse All Poems, and limit it by topics, forms, school/period, or poets region. So let's limit it by topics. And as you can see, there's subjects, occasions, and holidays. We'll go to living under subjects. And then you can further limit it to really specific themes under living. So let's select life choices. And we get 1,663 poems that were tagged as a life choices topic. You can further limit it on the right by quick tags, so poems that were featured in Poetry Magazine, poems that have resources connected with them, and then poems with related video and audio. So let's say that you're a youth services librarian looking for poems to share with teens for National Poetry Month. This would be a good option to go on this website because you can limit to suitable for teens, and that limits out of like 1,000 something that we had before to 17 poems. So that's an awesome resource there. Let's go back to Poems and Poets and go to Poem Guides. So poem guides here, the writers and editors of the Poetry Foundation have written analysis and background information on individual poems, and we have 95 poem guides so far. So these, I think, are good resources for anyone who really wants to delve deeper into the meaning of a specific poem or the historical events that are connected to a specific poem, and it's also really good for educators who are teaching poetry. So let's go back to Poets Home. Here we see some featured poets, and we can also look down at poem samplers. So the editors and writers have started to collect poems that specific poets have written, and they've written biographies of the poets here, and then little descriptions of each poem that later link out to the poem itself. And I'll just show you now that under every poem is a little citation that shows copyright information and reprinted permissions. And when you click into a specific poem, you can also scroll down and see collections it's related to, and you can see more poems by that poet. So you can click see all poems by this author, and these are all the poems that the Poetry Foundation has by Audre Lorde. And each poet also has a biography here. So let's go back. We're back on the Poets Home page. You can browse all poets, and then that lets you limit it by birthplace, school / period, or region. The digital archive also has a collections page, which I think is really awesome. It gets more into kind of a curation thing. So every so often, this looks like it's specific to February because there's a lot of Valentine's Day themed love collections, and then also Black History Month. So the editors put together these collections to kind of discover poetry by different themes. So queer love poems, you can see, is further limited to My Beloved, wedding poems, passionate and erotic, and heartbreak and longing. One last feature of the Poetry Foundation I'd like to share is Poem of the Day. So you can sign up with an email to receive a new poem emailed to you every day. So I think that's a great way to just read more poetry in a really digestible, quick way. So overall, I think the Poetry Foundation Digital Archive is a great free resource to anyone that has access to the internet and a device to explore poetry, find new poems and favorite poets, and it's really good for librarians and educators who are trying to share poetry. I hope you enjoyed.